Check.
All right, good. So we are kicking off tonight with Authors Connecting, a cultural reading program, and this is actually the first night that we started on this season as we celebrate Caribbean American Heritage Month with Tropical Fest and all our beautiful Caribbean authors, and we're just so happy to have the community here. So we have our first guest, Keisha Martin. Just so excited. So I'm going to read your marvelous bio. Alright? So, from the beautiful island of Jamaica, Keisha Martin is an award-winning singer, songwriter, creative leader, entrepreneur, cultural ambassador, and now an author. Hello!
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us too. Alright, so No One's Coming, a daily guide to showing up for yourself, is her first book, and it's an extension of a life spent expressing, processing, and surviving through music, faith, and honest self-reflection. Known for her signature jam rock soul experience of powerful fusion of R&B, reggae, and soul, she is the front woman of Keisha Martin and the jam rock soul experience, delivering high energy, immersive live performances on stages across New York City and beyond. She's known for her soulful storytelling, emotional authenticity, and her signature women. Okay, cool. Yes, I'm back to the signature genre soul experience. Keisha has spent years giving voice to lived experiences through songs, and so writing this book is a continuation of that expression, written in real time, which is very interesting. We're gonna get into that. During seasons of exhaustion, healing, and reckoning, when choosing herself became a daily discipline. Realize, okay. Ruiz, with strong Jamaican roots and shaped by the unwavering love of her grandmother, Phyllis Davis. I see Davis. First time I'm hearing that name, beautiful. Keisha learned early that resilience is built and not inherited. No One's Coming speaks from the middle of the journey where healing is imperfect, faith is tested, and self-rescue becomes a practice rather than just a slogan. So we have daily reflections, questions, and affirmations. Keisha invites readers into the same process that she's committed to, showing up honestly, protecting your energy, honoring your creativity, and doing the necessary work for caring for your inner glass. At its core, No One's Coming is not about reinvention. It is about recognition of strength that already exists, of survival that has already happened, and of truth that choosing yourself again and again is healing. So beyond music and writing, Keisha is the founder of Rise Her Summit, a non-profit organization supporting women and girls in music, entertainment, and creative industries through access, membership, and community. And her leadership and cultural impact have been recognized by the City of New York and the United States Congress. Additionally, she's a Recording Academy member, serves on the New York Chapter Advocacy Committee, and served as team captain for the Grammy Advocacy Week in 2024. So yes, welcome again, Keisha Martin, for her first debut.
That sounds like a lot.
That was a lot. And I don't think that was all of it, right?
It was enough.
But thank you for being so unapologetic. And so we're going to jump right into it. That's the soundstage that we have here. And so I don't know if you like, would you like to tell me a little bit about yourself before we jump in? Yeah, about your life story or anything?
I mean, you can just dive into whatever you have planned. I mean, I'm an open book, so you can ask for it and we'll get into it. I think you just said a lot just now. Well, I'm a mom. Yeah. Also, my son is here. I'm a mother of two. And I'm just a lover of people and just just connector of people as well. So that's just me in a nutshell.
Well, that's great that you started there, because I've noticed so far in getting to know you and reading through this book that your music and even you having a non-profit organization and this book is all about community. It's all about nurturing yourself, and it's kind of like what they say on the airplanes, right? You have to put on your mask and get your oxygen before you help others. So I was gonna ask you, what really made this a mission for you to build and nurture your community? What was it that sparked that passion in you?
I feel like just my upbringing, I feel that it was really rough. And so in my mind, as you get older, you go through therapy and you begin your healing journey, you realize why you're a certain way, why you are a people person. So for me, I realized my realization was that, I never wanted people to experience what I experienced. So in every encounter is intentional. I want people to it's not always going to be like that, because you're going to meet people, on different levels, different parts of their journey. And so grace is a thing. And so I'm always giving people grace. I think it's the more the Aries in me and just me wanting to make sure that everybody is good. Not necessarily good with me, but just everyone being good that has an encounter with me.
So now that I know you're Aries, because I'm Aries too.
Okay, when's your birthday?
April 12th.
Oh, okay, I'm the 9th.
Okay, cool, we're close.
Yes.
So is it that, I just had it right there. But I guess you definitely feel that passion and there's no sitting back. You can't see things happen and knowing that you could help and you're just not going to do anything about it. Because starting a whole organization, that's a lot of work,
It's a whole lot.
Yeah.
It is.
And how long have you had?
So we just completed year 2. But I've been doing that type of work without the organization for quite some time. So I've just been a community person. I started another, community initiative. I would call it that, because it wasn't structured. Doing a back to school drive in Jamaica, in New York, for kids in Jamaica. So I would adopt a school and I would put on an event here and invite people to come to. Your entry was a backpack for a child with school supplies.
That's so cool.
Donate. So it was called Tools for School, and it was under my Artists for Alliance initiative.
I love that concept so much, and I'm so great that you still connected to your roots and your homeland.
Always.
Yeah, right. That is so great. So we could jump into just the outside of the book, and we could start talking about this cover art, because I recognize that it is handmade, it's customized. And so tell me about this artwork.
So the photograph, the person sitting with their back turned, it's a photograph of me in a dressing room upstate New York before I went on stage to perform. So the reflection was that me, my older self, looking back at me. When I started writing this piece, and because of what it was about, I said I wanted the cover to speak to where I'm from. The photo of the person staring back is my younger self. It's actually my first passport picture when I came to America. Yes, I still have that. And I said I wanted her staring back at me like a messenger, telling me it's time to take care of you. You've done so much for so many people, and this is the time to really start pouring into you. And so that's what I wanted it to say, but also I wanted the readers to look at it as that. I always ask people this question: what would you tell? What would be your message to your younger self as an adult, right? But this is the opposite. So this is my message from my younger self to my now self. Take care of you. Show up for you.
It's a powerful message, something that we definitely overlook a lot, because like we were speaking outside, when you grow up in community, you recognize that people exhaust themselves. Your mom exhausts herself cooking all day and putting everybody else before her. So you can talk, you can elaborate on that.
So we become Caribbean as Caribbeans. We grew up in a society, a community, watching our parents, our grandparents, taking care of everybody, being the village, being everything to everyone. But we've never had an example of self-care. We've never watched them say, you know what, I'm gonna take a day for myself. It's just been working, and whether it's paying the bills, whether it's taking care of mom, dad, grandmother, everybody. And so because we've never had that example, I believe that it's a time, this is the right time for that type of conversation to happen, where it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to do everything by yourself. I know that in a lot of times growing up, they've been forced because they didn't have any choice. But we live in a different society, a different time, and I feel like people just need to be conscious of taking pause and just saying, you know what? It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to just say, I just need a moment. It's a joke that I have with my son that I was like, I just need a minute on the floor. Just give me 1 minute on the floor. And it's just like, it's okay to be like, yo, I don't have it in me right now, you know? So, yeah.
And there's this quote that I saw on social media. I don't know if you guys saw it. By the way, feel free to ask questions at any point in time so we can make this interactive. The quote was saying, I've seen strong women, I've seen, brilliant women, I've seen women thriving in their careers, but I've never seen a relaxed woman. And it really hit me that that's true. My mom, every woman, brilliant as it may be, everyone is always so intense and always like on go, always overcompensating, but never really truly relaxed. So it's at least very rare to see women.
We adapt that behavior because we emulate what we see our parents and those that, our community grow up. So at the end of the day, I feel like it's okay for us to begin this conversation, put this into practice, because the book doesn't only start a conversation, it actually puts things into practice. I mean, you delve into the book, each chapter is very intentional. I talk about different things that, even my relationship with my grandmother and just why I keep going. She was one of the strongest person that I knew in my life, and I watched her go through dementia and just being like, once a man, twice a child. And it was just like the hardest thing for me to watch her be that after being so strong, but at the same time, again, with the gap of never seeing her slow down because she was protecting everybody and she was there for everybody. So again, why the book is dedicated to her, because a lot of me is because of her. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her.
That's very interesting. Is she still with us? No. Okay, sorry to hear it. I'm so curious if she saw it, what she would have thought.
My grandmother. I think she would have loved the book. I think I would have loved for her to actually put some of these things into practice. She died in her 80s and still was like glowing. Listen, she had to go to visit this person's church. She had to take care of this person, that person. And so listen, she had us taking her to these places because she had to make an appearance. So all of those things matter, and I wish she was here to actually put some of these things into practice. I talk about community, and we started that in a conversation, but it's more intentional, Pause is like taking time for you, your friends, your family, having those moments, creating those memories. I've always been that, because my house has been the house that everybody gathers at. If there's a birthday party, it's at Auntie Keisha's, so I've been that. And without reservation, without regret. But again, the people in my life now, I'm just trying to just practice more dealing with my internal, my mental, my emotional, and just focusing more on me, because you only have 1 year.
Correct.
And how you treat yourself, everybody's watching. And it's important to treat yourself well, because if you're not, someone else that's not in a good space, that's not on a healing journey, they can come along and take advantage of that.
Correct. That is so true. You have to be strong in your own self to shake off, any of the energies that may come by.
Mm-hmm.
So, being a singer-songwriter, and this being your first book, what was that creative process like? Did you doubt yourself? Like, could I really write a book? What, just talk me through that whole experience.
So wanting to write a book has been a very long-standing thing that I wanted to do. I felt like this being an author was something, I'm a storyteller, but the process for this particular book wasn't about creativity. It was about expelling. So because I was going through something when I began this book, like really, something really rough. And it was emotional for me. And there was some health issues going on. And so, again, so when you're going through life and things like you hit a wall, you get to kind of look up and be like, you notice how you're treating yourself, but you also notice how others are treating you. So that is super important. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Dr. Lynch.
So, first of all, congratulations, Keisha. I think this is an amazing endeavor that you're taking on. I don't want to assume that you answered the question, so I'm going to ask it.
Yes.
When I look at the title of the book, I kind of get an eerie, dark feeling, but I also see the light. No one's coming. I said nobody's.
It's a hard pill to swallow.
Right, yeah. So why did you choose that title? How did that title come about? No one's.
I love that person.
So I spoke about my childhood, which was very dark. So that's the title. A lot of times, a lot of us, sometimes it's just us and God. And I went through a period of my life, and when I look back, and it's more so being on my healing journey and looking back at where I'm coming from, right? A lot of times, people might say, oh, get over it or whatever, because that's a thing in society, especially in our community as far as Caribbean people is concerned, but some things you carry with you for the rest of your life. Not in a negative way, but it sits with you. It affects you. And those are things that maybe you'll talk about, maybe some of your friends will know about, and maybe they won't know about. I speak freely about my childhood trauma because when you're a kid and you cannot protect yourself, someone else has that responsibility, and nobody comes, that's the title. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. I'm not a complainer, I'm not a whiner, but I don't think those connotations even make any sense because people use them so lightly. You're like, oh yeah, stop complaining, stop whining, but it's not that. When community is important. You have to, when you're going through life, to have people to talk to. I have people who call me and we'll talk for hours. And and I don't say counsel because I'm not a counselor. I just am a listener. And I will advise not based on anything other than my own life experience. I encourage people because the space that I'm in now is that I'm on a journey. My healing journey is a lifetime thing, and I am not playing about it. That's why. Because no one was there when I needed someone, and I couldn't protect myself as a child. So, at the end of the day, it's my responsibility now as an adult to show up for me.
Did anyone come? Like, as you, I love the like, as a
I've had
child.
community. As a child, no, never happened. So at the end of the day, it just never happened. People tried to step in, but it just never happened. My whole thing is that we cannot hold on to what has happened to us. We cannot sit in that, right? And we have to make a conscious decision. How do we want to move forward? That we are here for something greater. For me, my faith is what allowed me to move forward. God came. That's what I would say, because my faith is how I process things. I feel like the way I see my life as Keisha Martin, the artist, everything that I do, I owe to God. I don't owe it to anybody else. God, and that's it. Because a lot of those times in those dark places when nobody showed up, it was me and him. And so, yeah, God showed up, but no physical person. So if we sit in a space where we are going through stuff and we feel like, I get so many calls from so many different people. And they're like, oh my God, I'm going through this today. And my thing is, have you prayed today? Have you talked to God today? Somebody said to me one time, and I'm never going to forget that, when I said, what is your prayer life like? I'm constantly reminding people about God because even if it's not him for you, it's him for me. I cannot tell you how to live your life, but what I can say is that this is my faith has brought me through. And if you wholeheartedly trust that faith, that thing, or find that one thing to latch onto that keeps you going, for me, it's God. Whatever it is for you, find it. That's it. That's it. Yes.
So, sorry to go back to a previous question, but looking at the book cover,
Mm-hmm.
and looking at, you said that was your passport picture. You were first traveling to the United States.
I was 8.
It looked like you were not too happy in that picture.
It was. It wasn't a happy moment.
And now, looking back at your passport photo now, has anything changed in terms of you flourishing with your life?
Absolutely. God is amazing. Who I am today is not that little girl. We have to grow, we have to evolve, and once you make the conscious decision that your healing is important and you start doing the work, so I'm gonna say that, you start doing the work. Because it's not just, oh, I want to heal one day, and it's an overnight thing, right? Healing is a lifetime journey, which is why the book is not just, I call it a companion, because you don't just read it and put it down. I was very deliberate in the structure of the book. Like there's work to be done, and I make readers have to work. Like the questions, they may seem simple at the end of each chapter, like a simple question. And if I ask this room right in this very moment, how are you feeling? Every one of you will have a different answer for me. Be it good, bad, or indifferent, you'll have a different answer, right? It might be joy today, but life is lifing for all of us. And the cycle of life happens continuously. Every day is not going to be a good day, but you can make it a good day. If you're responsible for it, you are. If you don't think you're responsible for how your day goes, if you wake up in the morning, and I talk about self-talk in the book, if you wake up in the morning and be like, you stub your toe on the bed, and you're like, I'm gonna have a really crazy day today, it's gonna be a horrible day, that's exactly what it'll be. Because I feel like you speak life into whatever you want to happen. We are so powerful beyond measure. Yes.
So in the book, I was really impressed that you paid really particular attention to the fact that your words are so powerful. What you say has to be intentional, because they say that the universe doesn't understand when you're joking. So even when you say, "Oh, I broke," you actually say that, right? So is it through faith that you began to connect that, make that connection between how strong your words are and why you need to be so intentional? What brought that?
Yes, and the fact that I know, and I don't think I know, I think somebody once told me that I don't know how powerful I am, and they watch me and they'll say like, hey, you're just this person that I see as such and such and such. They're sitting in the room right now, but said that to me one time. It was like, they see me, and I was like, really? But people, you'll meet people along the way, right? That will remind you or just tell you things about yourself that you need to hear. that you don't know about you. I might think that, yeah, I'm positive and I'm confident and I'm a people person and yada, yada, yada. But then there's something about me that I have not yet discovered because we're constantly discovering new things about ourselves and who we are, right? Because that's the evolution of life. We don't stay the same. We're supposed to grow. We're supposed to be better. Yeah.
You have a question?
Yes, I'm sorry. What was my question? I know we keep, because I'm very interested in the cover also, so I can.
We keep going back to the cover.
Yes. Put it back to the cover. Something between what both of you said. And then your answer was to some things you might have said, that I'm not that little girl in the picture.
Right.
And so my question was, were you just answering that, like, you know, sometimes you just give an answer, but is that your authentic answer?
That's always who I am. That is absolute. I'm not her.
Because when you, so my response to that was, or my commentary, just to use that, was, I think sometimes when we go through, not I think sometimes, more so often than not, when we go through childhood trauma and stuff like that, we do have a disconnect or don't want to be associated with, because it's, you know, a hurtful time, a hurtful thing, you see pictures
Right.
of yourself when you're younger, you know what you went through at that moment, or when you were 8, or coming to, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a hurtful space, but I know, like, in my own healing, that I would say that you are that girl in the picture. Especially because you brought up God. Because that was going to be my original question. Who's God and all this? But then you finally said it right. Because my thing, like, you know, we all have a testimony. And you can't leave out from 0 to, you just turned 50.
Right.
And from 0 to 50, that's all you.
Right.
That's your testimony.
Right.
So, not to correct you, just to give you some, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but it's not me.
right. But what I think, that's what I'm saying, maybe it's just like a broad answer versus a specific.
It was intentional, and I'm gonna tell you.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Why it's not me is that the pain that she held on to, definitely it's not me. Because we evolve, and God didn't make us to be the same people, literally. So I answered it exactly how it is a disconnect. I am not her because God didn't stay in that space. So that's why she's left where she is, because she's emotionally not where I am now. So it was an answer from an emotional standpoint.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we got.
No.
We're sisters.
Yeah,
So not to argue, but I would still say, and this is from my own journey too, because like I said, when you go through things, especially as a child, you don't want to be connected. You don't want to even think about certain memories, but I know that, and sometimes with people as well, maybe not me and you, because we're more God conscious and in Christ, stuff like that, they might be like, you know, like, well, God can't be a part of the bad stuff. Only when now I'm going through the good stuff, or I've written a book. I'm not saying specifically, you know what I mean? But I realized in my own journey that it all happened for the good of where I am now.
Right.
And if I'm saying God is in control of my whole life, He was in control of when I was 8, when I was in that picture, and it brought me to where I am now. So I can't, like, disconnect from, you know what I'm saying, me personally. Disconnect from even the trauma and stuff like that, because that's part of my journey, that's part of the things put me through to bring me that point, to bring me back there. So that's
okay. Thank you for that. But yes,
How do you?
with Carolyn.
I'm not staying with him.
Do you?
No.
Do we have drinks available? What's happening? Yeah, I like that. Go ahead.
And he raised his hand, but I raised my hand to message him. I'm gonna wait until you're done. It's fine.
All right. My question was, how do you differ your expression of your story through music as opposed to religion?
Everything is tied to me, who I am, because how I see the world is based on my journey. I feel like everybody, you're creative. So I feel like we see the world through the eyes of our journey and who we are, who we've evolved into and continue to evolve into. I write songs about people's business and nobody knows. People just, people think so. I wrote a song about a breakup, and it's called The Breakup. I haven't put it out yet. And it's so funny. It's like an old song, but it was about two people separating, a man and a woman separating because I guess she realized that it was time to walk away from the relationship. And it's like, while it's a painful thing, she just knew that she needed to just move on with her life. And it's just, it's so many different things. I write songs based on everything that I see and I experience in the world. It may be related to me, it may not be. So I do align my creativity around my own journey.
So I noticed in your book, you didn't get into detail of your particular journey. You mentioned that, you went.
The Artist Manifesto, yeah.
Okay.
It does, it outlines, like, not like in detail, but it does say, like, pretty much in a nutshell where my journey, where this book is stemmed from. But I deliberately didn't do that because it wasn't intended to be a memoir. I say that it's not a memoir, because this book kind of inspired me to kind of dive in and start writing my memoir. I talk about, I'm actually working on a documentary. Yeah, I'm doing that.
Okay.
This man says, like, okay, where did the book come from? Because I don't know. So I'm announcing, I'm working on a documentary about, it's called Girl Interrupted. Just y'all hearing it first here. And it's more about the culture of being a Caribbean girl who goes through trauma and where's the disconnect and how do we protect our young women. And I don't like, so I've been through a traumatic experience. I feel like the healing started when I forgave. You know what I mean? I began to forgive myself, not blaming myself and not blaming my parent who wasn't in a space to even understand what they were doing. And I will say that, and it's forgiveness in that context, even if it's probably dark, it doesn't sound like it makes any sense to anybody.
Yeah. Very interesting. Wow. So you also mentioned that you had to build your life, creating your own support system from the beginning, right? Going through that childhood and building your support system along the way. In addition to you being a source of support, where else did you get? Where did you pull that from? Was it the music? Was it
A lot of people that you see sitting in this room, that they're part of my tribe, my community, I feel like I talk about that. One of the chapters specifically dedicated to community. There's a picture that's really blurry, but it was intentionally blurry. I took that photo when I went to Florida. I have a friend named Stacey Williams. She's like a big source of like a foundation of my community. Nola, Norma, everybody that I know that, we in community in different ways, but that beach day she started this thing. And I'm sharing this because I feel like maybe someone will hear it and say, it's a good idea. Let me try it, putting that into practice. So what she did is, like, when she wants to love on her friends, she decides that she wants to do a retreat in her home. Her husband does not object because he knows that that's what she does. So she's like, yep, I'm doing her home is called the Sunshine House, and she's one of the most, and she's a Guyanese. Yes, I have multiple Guyanese friends. Those are the family that I didn't know I needed that I actually have. So we go to Stacey's house, but on an annual basis, this is the thing that she put into practice. When we went to her first retreat, she said to us, we were sitting doing yoga in her living room, and she was like, we're gonna pick a word of the year, and whatever that word is, and usually it's in September where her retreats are done because it's around her birthday. That's how she does her celebration. And she'll say, what's the word of the year? And And whatever your word of the year is, you have to carry it with you through the rest of the year and be very intentional on what it is. Like, so when you are asked that question, like, what word represents you in this moment, and what are you going to carry into the next year, God willing? You know, because tomorrow's not promised to us. And so this year, for 2027, my word was replenish. Hence, I didn't know I was going to finish this book. And so, replenish. I finished it, and I continue to practice pouring back into me. And so I may ask, maybe before y'all leave here, what's your word of the year? Pick a word.
We can do that now.
What word has carried you into the past 6 months of 2026? And if I was to ask you a word, it could be anything. It has to be positive, by the way.
Extraordinary.
Love that.
You know.
Yes. All right, so I know what y'all word. Is that your word to be learned?
I would say expansion.
Expansion and extraordinary. Dr. Flower Child. Okay, think about it. Mr. Ramsey?
I don't know, maybe words.
No.
No,
I'm gonna fight you.
I'm always playing with words.
Yeah.
So I never needed them all.
Yeah. So what word? You wanna think about it when we come back? Are y'all thinking over there? I see y'all. Okay, you got a word?
One of my favorite words is wicked.
Wicked?
And wicked is an expression to me that represents going to the limits of anything that's positive that's going to drive a great outcome.
Yeah, because it's wicked in a positive way. It's wordplay. I get you.
I always use that word.
It's wicked. Yeah, got it. You figured out?
Yeah.
What word?
This is more so the word of my life.
I'm listening.
Transformation.
I know that. Transformation.
Wow.
Dr. Lynch.
Grace.
Yes. And Mr. Peter, in the back there. Do you have a word?
Realistic,
Realistic. I love it. Care to share a word?
due diligence.
Due diligence. Did I say that right? Due diligence. Okay, I don't know. Just sounded like I didn't say it right. What's your word, young lady? Not yet? All right, you think about it. Yes, what's your word?
As soon as you said that, my word was obedience.
Obedience.
And I'm a good person, as you know, but I'm just saying, at this stage on a whole, like where we are in the world, we're super disobedient
Mm-hmm.
to God's word, to sharing the Holy Spirit, to just following a certain path, you know. Everybody's too worldly, and sometimes they just don't, you don't even know unconsciously that we're just so disobedient.
Right.
I think the last 6 months, even smoking, I'm a smoking girl, like I haven't smoked in 3 months, like I gotta be.
So this is a personal obedience.
To God's word, and what I should really be doing and locking in.
How about you?
You know, I actually think it might be the opposite to yours. It might be like free,
Liberation?
yeah,
Liberal?
yeah,
I don't know. Like,
I think both can be true.
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
That's me. Okay, so it's just
Jada.
Jada's gonna think about it. No,
We don't think forever.
that's okay. If you think of,
That's not the audience.
if Jada thinks of something, you're welcome to tell me, okay, Jada? You don't, no pressure, okay?
Sure.
Just think of a word that makes you feel good and positive about yourself. What kind of year have you been having? A good one?
Good.
When he said wicked, we thought he meant the opposite.
No.
Because my husband, which is her brother's favorite word,
Mm-hmm.
people who are disobedient,
Mm-hmm.
wicked, so that was
No,
funny.
he invented it, right? The Jamaican them said, yeah, wicked. Yeah, so.
Yes, you wanted to.
So I wanted to touch on a little bit of Jada's mom.
Yes,
As
Marie.
mentioned, Marie.
Marie.
What we brought up the point earlier about Keisha still being that girl.
Yeah,
And Keisha saying, you know what, I'm not her. I think both things are true.
I agree.
And I make a lot of analogies to cooking,
Mm-hmm.
you know, food person.
Yes.
And it's kind of like starting a pot and it being one thing, but then as you add
Mm-hmm.
and add,
It becomes
and
something
add,
else. But it's the same pot.
but the essence of it, it's like the caterpillar evolving into a butterfly.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the butterfly wouldn't be there
Got
without the caterpillar.
it. Right.
So that metamorphosis was important.
Right.
And I do agree with you that no, you're not her, but she's still there.
Absolutely.
And those moments when you're stomping your feet and you know that's not how you're supposed to be acting, that's her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the THEE, Keisha Martin that we see, maybe that's not how she presented, but she would not be her without her.
Absolutely.
And I love her for you.
I
And
love her for you.
because I love you.
Love you too.
And who would you be without her?
Absolutely.
You know, so we welcome her and we keep
Right.
her, but we understand
She's
that
where she's at. Right.
that pain is no longer who you are.
That's what I meant. That was the response.
Yeah.
That's what the response was. It wasn't anything other than that.
Yeah, but that beautiful girl, she's probably singing already. I don't know.
No, she wasn't. She had nothing to sing about it. She was 8 and nothing to sing. Because I didn't like Jamaica. My music didn't start from Jamaica. It started from like after I came here. So yeah.
The
So you
essence
didn't
is nice.
grow up in
Right.
that church, or did I know
I did,
Okay.
but not in Jamaica. Here.
That's
After I migrated, I started in church. That's how I found my faith.
okay. That's so interesting.
I found God in a dark place. It was like dark. Yeah, it's more so from a child. Like that's what I needed in the moment, something to hold on to, and it was super important that I received that and was obedient to that.
But you don't find light in the light.
That's it. You always find the light in the door.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Welcome. Okay, so this book you made very interesting, as you mentioned earlier, because after each chapter, you ask a question and then you leave room for people to reflect and be on their own journey.
And it's in the moment. It's not necessarily a question of being on a journey. It's like if the question is posed, if you get to chapter 1, 2, the end of 1, 2, 3, and you get a question, it is about that very moment you're in. You may ask yourself, but it also those extra spaces to write is to come back to that question another day. And it may be a different answer, but keeping track of your answer to hold yourself accountable on how you're feeling. You're actually asking yourself, like today, how am I feeling today? I'm feeling wonderful. I'm feeling great. I'm excited. I'm here. My people, I'm sharing this lovely book with you guys. And tomorrow morning I might get up and I don't get up in this space because of medical issues, because I'm in pain, or when I suffer from chronic back issues. And like I have a torn meniscus I'm dealing with right now. So some days I'm good and some days I'm not. But I don't expect everything to be okay. So it's okay for me to have a different answer. So
I appreciate it because it makes you stay present with
Mhm.
it, as you said.
exactly.
Yeah. So what was this process like writing a book like this? And when did you start? Because you said you didn't know that you were going to finish. But when was the starting point?
I was going through a time. I think probably a lot of people, few people in the room knows. I was going through a really rough patch, emotionally and physically, and I really was not able to do anything other than go to the bathroom and go to bed. So I had a lot of time time in bed, but also at the same time, I was not being treated well by the only person that was in the same house with me. I'll say that. And it was a domestic issue. And like, you would think that you get to look at not only how you're treating yourself, but how you're allowing people to treat you in the moment. And so it was a aha moment for me, right? And so I had nothing to do. I either would respond to what I was dealing with in a negative way or find a way to expel. Hence the book. I started writing and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote but I wrote and put things into practice. I began to set boundaries. I began to say no. I began to just do a lot of things that people are afraid to do, especially when you are in a space where you feel like maybe a sense of obligation, or for me, it wasn't really, it was more so protecting myself why I delved into this book. Like, really protecting myself from doing the wrong thing and responding in a way that would not have been the Keisha Martin. That is who I am, and I continue to evolve into. So I will say that.
Basically, this is you channeling all that energy into something positive, because that would have been.
And putting it into practice. I had to practice. And my prayer life was my prayer every single day. So people don't understand, being a good person is practice. I didn't get up every day and just mess things up and just be a horrible human being. That's a choice too, but it's an easy choice. It's easy to get up and just be a horrible human being. But the hardest thing you'll ever have to do is be a good person. It is hard because sometimes you're surrounded by people who are just, they be trying you. And I be like, try Jesus. And that's better. Don't try me. But I don't never want to be at the end. I always say this. I never want to be at the end of someone's bad day. So when you are when you're in a situation where you have the choice to respond in a negative way, right? Again, pause is practice. You have to step back and say, how do I respond to this? And what is the outcome if I respond? You have one or two ways to respond. You have to look at the outcome in both ways. And you make a conscious choice in that moment to choose, the red pill or the blue pill.
And these tools, because in your book you have affirmations. And it's interesting because I actually never thought about doing affirmations. How you broke it down, morning, afternoon, and evening. I only used to do my affirmations in the morning.
You have 24 hours, right?
You're right.
But some of us have different times of the day that we're up, that we're working, and different things like that. So this is why I break my day down, because I keep crazy hours. So you gotta practice, put into practice. Morning affirmations is when you wake up, you set the tone of your day, right? You speak life into whatever you want your day is. We talked about that earlier, right? So the midday is more of your reset, your pause. So depending on how busy you are, even if it's just going in the car or making a transition and just saying, you know what, I'm getting in the car, I gotta move to the next thing that I gotta do for the day. But you know what, let me take about 5 minutes to just sit with myself and meditate, or just breathe, or hear the sound of my own voice, whatever it is. Yeah. And the evening is whatever your day happened, before you go to bed, you listen, this was the day, and I'm leaving it where it is, right? And I'm going to affirm that when I rest, I'm going to go to sleep. I think the best advice my therapist gave me was for me to be intentional about my bedtime, right? So me and her talked about it, because I wasn't sleeping. It was like really crazy for me. I literally was not sleeping. Like I would fall asleep at 4 o'clock and get up at 6. every day or 5, like 1 hour nap. And so she's like, do you have a bedtime routine? And I was like, no. So she's like, whether it's a bath, shower, burning candles, like set the tone of your bedtime. You know what I mean? And that really helped me.
A routine.
Yeah, having a routine, like set the mood for you to go to sleep. I love classical music, so I put on like the 2-hour run of the classical, and that's playing before I go to bed. And it's just like, yeah, let's do this. I like how this feels.
Yeah.
You know, once I became an empty nester, because I am an empty nester.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But you know, we overlook these simple things in life, like
Mhm.
breathing. But these things are still core to our life experience, and I've experimented with setting the tone of the day by starting off with affirmations or gratitude.
Mhm.
First thing as I wake up, I don't even know who I am, I don't know where I am, but you know what? I'm grateful for this X, Y, and Z. That definitely set the tone of the day. Versus when I would open my eyes and reach for my phone and go on Instagram and see something happening in some other part of the world, and already my survival instincts and my stress and everything and my body chemistry has already adjusted to suit that, and that definitely sets a tone of the day too. So I really love that you included the language that you use and the routine and the practices that you do every day. The simple things that takes practice, as you said.
We don't think about it. It's just simple. Like going for a walk today, my morning, I look at the water, and my morning begins with a walk. I get up at 5 o'clock every day. That's just the clock that I'm on. But I need that walk. I need to watch the sun rise in the morning. Because that's a thing for me. I love it.
That's your thing.
And it brings me to a space. So we find the thing. I tell people, if I ask people, it's always like, oh, I'm scrambling my brain to think about it. Like, what are the things that you enjoy, right? But you should have a book that documents those things every single day. Even if you can't think of it, what brings you joy? And write them down and put them to practice. No matter how simple, how silly it might sound. I like to go to combination books. I like to smell roses. I like fresh flowers in my house. Whatever it is, put it into practice.
I love that. Yeah. And also now is a great time to journal because we're in the middle of history here. And you see how information can be, misinterpreted and misguided. So it's really cool to go back, like in your grandparents' journal, and be like, oh, so that's what happened.
Right. And documenting everything. Like for me, I'm a moments person. Sometimes it's not about the cameras, it's not about that. Sometimes it's what's here. It's what you remember. Like it's, for me, I document everything. I like to take pictures, don't get me wrong, because I feel like we all do, but sometimes disconnecting is like so much more important than like taking photos and having a camera on. Like if you go, like nowadays you go to concerts, you see people everybody with their phone out. I think there was a party recently and I thought it was like the coolest thing where everybody had to lock their phone up and they go into the party. And I was like, yeah, what happened to those days when we knew how to I think everybody was losing their mind. But I felt like I love that it was a sold out event and people embraced the idea of disconnecting. So we're not far from it. We are okay with it, but in doses.
I was wondering, is there a particular part that you would like to read for us from the book?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna respond yes, and I'm gonna do 2 parts. And I think somebody asked me that on an interview yesterday, and I'm gonna read the same 2 things that I read for them. Oh, so my dedication. It's very short to my grandma, that's why I chose the other part of the book. So, to my grandmother, Phyllis Isima Davis, your strength, prayers, and unwavering love carried me long before I knew how to carry myself. You taught me to stand, to believe, to fight even when tired. This book is for you, for the times you fought battles in silence, so I can rise in noise. That's a fun part. And I think I'm gonna just read the beginning of chapter. So. It's gonna be the first chapter. The chapters are very short because it's not like a book like that. You know what I mean? So, but this is, the opening is my favorite because it speaks to really where the book is gonna take you. So, and the title of the chapter 1 is You Have to Save Yourself. Because of course we don't send nobody now. And I feel like the responsibility, just to delve into a question about the title, it being a little daunting, but I feel like even if you're in a relationship and two people are together, right? You're responsible for your own happiness. You're not responsible for each other's happiness. So once you understand that in life, that your journeys are separate, but then when you find each other and you find love, you are on a journey. You create happiness together, but you're not responsible for each other's happiness, if that makes sense, right? So you have to save yourself. Where I come from, you survive, you stay quiet, you deal with it. What happens in this house stays in this house, even if that house is crumbling around you. Nobody was coming, not because they didn't love me, but because they didn't know how. Because they were drowning too. And when everybody's gasping for air, nobody has enough left over to save you. So I taught myself. I became the mother I needed, the friend I never had, the safe place I prayed for. It started with how I talked to myself. No one else was telling me I mattered, so I had to say it out loud. Sometimes whispering through the tears. You're not crazy. You're not broken beyond repair. You're not what they did to you. It didn't sound powerful at first. It sounded desperate. It sounded scared. But it was real. And it was mine. When you come from nothing, healing feels like building a house with your bare hands. No blueprint, no help, just determination. But let me tell you, you can build something beautiful from the rubble. You can build something no one can take from you. And the day you realize that, you stop waiting. You start building. You become your own rescue.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So, what key takeaway, if you could, I don't know if you could summarize it, but what is it that you really want people to walk away from the book and even from this evening?
What I want people to walk away with is just be intentional about yourself. Stop playing about you. Stop letting people play about you. Because at the end of the day, if you are no longer here tomorrow, the world will keep moving. Life will keep going on. And everybody that you think should be in your corner, life goes on for them. So why not start today just by treating yourself better and giving people the example of how to treat you? That's what I want people to take away.
I love that. Are there any more questions or anything? Or is there anything else you'd like to share at this moment?
I heard it going.
Can we expect more books? We expect any memoir?
So the memoir, and definitely, so the Girl Interrupted, I'm looking for women that are willing to tell their stories. I feel like we come from so many different cultures, but we have so many similarities. And I feel like women speaking out about their journey. It's a short 15, 20 minutes short. The idea is to talk about your experience. What was your needs? What could have been done differently? Because sometimes we're dealing with a generation that's having more kids and how to, and so sometimes we need to show them what those things look like to look out for. How do we protect our young boys and young girls? And this book is not just about women's strength, because men need to understand that your healing and your self-care is as important as ours are. So that's another thing. So
Yeah. Also, is there anything that you initially had in the book that you took out, you added out, just maybe to save space, or is there anything that you would want to bring up?
So I would say no. So what happens is, because I said that I shared that I was going through a dark patch, like I said, some people in the room knows exactly. I didn't want it to be about that. I wanted to be about seeing that you were dealing with something and the choice of how to deal with it was important, but it wasn't about the thing that you were dealing with. You know what I mean? Not making it about that.
Yeah.
But because, again, I still had a responsibility in all the things that was happening. And so ownership is important. Taking ownership to what you're going through and how people are treating you is your responsibility. Because if you don't allow it, it doesn't happen. So, yeah, technically, I don't want to go through I didn't want to, like I said, focus on what and the why, the reasons, the exact thing that brought me to this space. I just wanted people to know that, listen, stop playing about yourself. Get it together. Stop treating you bad.
Because there's a lot that you touched on here, your relationship.
Oh, you on that page. So let me borrow the book. So here are things that I didn't talk about. That's not in the book. So we talked about, shout outs to my beautiful flower picking on myself. Shout out to my son, Apollo Flower Child. He did the book. We did the book cover. But also there's another piece, which is going to be like a thing, maybe available for sale, at my little next book signing, little copies of this thing here. So this is a thing that we didn't talk about. See how beautiful that looks? It's another piece that my son did. And when they started it, I was like, yeah, I feel like the face needs to kind of look like me, but if you look at the colors on the face, it looks like it's crying, right? But it's not a negative thing, because this is what life looks like for a lot of us. It's the messy, like the ups and downs, very colorful, right? And so I thought this piece was so perfect, because this is what life looks like. And once we accept that this is what life looks like, then we control the narrative. We take back our power and on how we're treating ourselves and how we're letting life dump we all. We can't let life beat us up. Again, we are responsible. We hold the key. And if we understand how powerful we are and the power that we hold as people, as human beings, we're not having problems on teams. We're not gonna come across things. I'm saying that we would be in control. Because guess what? For me, it's God, and God is always in control in the head, and we deal with that. But I'm saying that, listen, we need fit, just take back our power. That's it.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate you guys. There are some books on the back table for sale. Those that have already purchased them, I want to get them an autograph today. Yeah. And those that are watching, you guys can follow me, official Keisha Martin, on all social platforms. If you go to Tropical Effect, you'll see the link and say, yeah, I'm here.
So congrats again, Keisha.
Thank you. You're so much.
Thank you guys. Feel free to chat a bit. What's in the basket?
Congratulations.
Very nice.
Alright, so okay, alright. Some serious answers.
Why do you look upset? Are you sleepy? It's sleepy time, right? Is that why you're upset? You want to sleep? Sleepy time?
Yeah.
What kind of position did you do? Right.
She is mad. I'm sorry. When you're upset, you don't want to see people laughing. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, but you just have one and you just really don't see it anything. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and you just kind of move with that. That's really good. Yeah, that's incredible. And I hope she's coming so close to everybody. Looks like
And they see, and that looks reality. I mean, we're not doing right now, but I don't think